Welcome everyone to the Hope's Harvest 2024 Volunteer Orientation. Thank you for your interest in gleaning with Hope's Harvest. This is a reminder that viewing this orientation is required for gleaning with us in 2024. If you're here, you've already learned about Farm Fresh Rhode Island, registered as a volunteer, and signed your waivers. Now you're almost finished with your 2024 volunteer orientation. Congrats! Make sure to pay attention and feel free to rewatch this video or parts of the video to familiarize yourself with our volunteer guidelines. In this video, we'll be covering all of the necessary information you'll need to know to glean with us this season. Here's a quick overview of our agenda. To begin, we'd like to open with a land and labor acknowledgement. We at Hope's Harvest aim to address hunger in our communities respectfully and effectively. So we can do this, let's all get on the same page about the root causes of food insecurity. When we talk about hunger, it's important to understand the reasons why people currently struggle to access food, especially food that's locally grown, fresh, and nourishing. Not only did slavery and European colonization build the agriculture system that we know today in the United States, but the effects of systemic racism and colonialism continue to cut many people and communities off from affordable and healthy sources of food, even now. We at Hope's Harvest recognize that our building, as well as the farms and hunger relief agencies that we partner with, are located on the traditional, ancestral, and contemporary lands of Indigenous peoples, including the Narragansett, Niantic, Nipmuc, Pokanoket, and Wampanoag tribes. In what is now called the United States of America, our food system was built on this stolen land, as well as the forced labor of enslaved Africans, Native peoples, migrants, and other vulnerable populations. By bringing these realities up, we aren't looking to place blame, but rather to give ourselves a fuller picture of the context of us coming together today. Hope's Harvest always strives to ground our work in respect for this land, these people, and those in our communities who struggle with food insecurity today because of these legacies of inequality. We appreciate your willingness to be on a learning journey with us about these topics and how we meaningfully address them today with our work and our shared commitment to righting the wrongs of the past. We encourage you to reach out to our team if you have any questions or feedback on these topics. We're all learning together, and Hope's Harvest is here to support ongoing understanding. All right, meet the staff for the 2024 season. We have 3 full-time year-round staff. Myself, Shannon, Assistant Director of Operations for Hope's Harvest. Allie, our Assistant Director of Hunger Relief, and Brianne, our new Operations Associate. You'll meet our 3 additional seasonal gleaning associates out in the field with us. Our team works tirelessly in all conditions, heat, wind, rain, and snow, to get healthy food into the hands of our neighbors, and we're so grateful for them for the huge difference they make in our community. All right, so let's get into it. We at Hope's Harvest believe it's important to provide a primer for everyone who works with us on why we do what we do, which is why we spoke a bit earlier about how our land and labor are related to food insecurity. As volunteers, we want you to know the broader context of the issues we're working to address and how you fit into the bigger picture when you come out and glean with us. Some of you may have already seen this information in other presentations, but we invite you to revisit it as there's always more to learn, and we've added some updated information to this orientation. So let's start by talking about hunger in Rhode Island. The 2023 Status Report on Hunger in Rhode Island, published by the Rhode Island Community Food Bank, found that nearly 1 in 3 households in Rhode Island lack access to adequate food, and that rate rises for families with children. Hunger in Rhode Island has always been an issue, but has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, supply chain disruptions, environmental disasters, and inflationary pressure on food prices. In 2020, food insecurity in Rhode Island reached the highest level recorded in 20 years, with 1 in 4 households at risk of hunger. While the rate slightly lowered in 2021, 2022 saw a dramatic increase in food insecurity in our state, a level that's remained the same in 2023. At a moment when a striking number of Rhode Island households are struggling to afford adequate food and food prices are historically high, key federal programs that were initiated in response to COVID-19 have ended, leaving people hungry. As previously stated, it is a fact that food insecurity disproportionately affects Black, Indigenous, and other people of color due to systemic and structural racism. This encompasses a host of issues, including unequal access to jobs and housing, discrimination by banks or government agencies, underfunded public schools, racist policing fueling the incarceration crisis, lack of voting rights or access in Black and brown communities, and on and on. You can see the stark contrast in how many white versus non white people are food insecure in this figure. So, when we think about addressing food insecurity, we're stepping into a space where many people's basic needs are not being met and taking one small piece of that bigger picture by ensuring that all of our friends and neighbors are able to access the nourishing food they need to thrive. At the same time that millions of people across the country are going without healthy, fresh food, research is also showing that a huge amount of produce goes to waste on farms. You can see here that the food wasted on farms accounts for about 17% of the total food waste in the United States, 15 million tons, and about $12 billion in lost revenue for farmers. So why does this happen? Well, farmers aren't doing anything wrong. They're often growing more than they need to make sure that they have enough for their markets in case of bad weather, pests or disease pressure, and to account for unrealistic cosmetic standards from buyers and produce that's too big or too small for packaging. And farmers run on tight margins and often can't afford to pay their workers to harvest food that isn't going to be sold. Again, nothing wrong with that, but rather than see edible food on farms get tilled under, brought to the compost pile, or fed to farm animals, we want to make sure that it's going to its highest and best use. If it can feed people, we're able to get it there. Hope's Harvest's mission is to improve the livelihood of local farmers, increase food security in Rhode Island's most vulnerable residents, and get everyone engaged in strengthening the food system by eliminating on-farm food waste in Rhode Island. We do this by recovering surplus food from hardworking farmers and delivering it to hunger relief agencies across Rhode Island, bringing high-quality fruits and vegetables to children, seniors, and folks in our community who lack access to nutritious foods. This process is not a new model, and it's been happening for thousands of years. Farm-based food recovery, also known as gleaning, is the ancient practice of collecting unharvested produce from farmers' fields and distributing it to people in need. So the farmer lets us know when they have product available in the field. We recruit and manage volunteers to go out and harvest it, and then we bring it to hunger relief agencies across Rhode Island and distribute it to people in need. In 2024, we're continuing to contract with farmers, which not only helps us establish great relationships with our farming partners, but also allows us to compensate them for all of their hard work and dedication to food access. We'll be contracting with 11 farmers in 2024. And 83% of these funds will be spent with socially disadvantaged farmers. We're also excited to continue purchasing surplus bulk quantity crops, such as carrots and potatoes, for distribution to food pantries during the busiest times during the fall and winter holidays. The Hope's Harvest program at Farm Fresh is also building our capacity to deliver fresh local food from farms to pantries across the state. We work closely with our Market Mobile Pack House and delivery team to deliver gleaned produce to our numerous partners, including pantries who utilize the Market Mobile ordering platform as part of the Farm to Food Pantry program, which is funded through the USDA's Local Food Purchase Assistance Cooperative Agreement, also known as LFPA. Through this program, agencies can purchase locally grown and produced goods, including items such as fruits and vegetables, dairy, eggs, meats, and poultry, all at wholesale prices. This year, the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program will look a little bit different than the past few years, as eligible seniors will now receive their $50 in benefits via electronic benefit cards to purchase local fresh fruits and vegetables, herbs and honey directly at farmers markets and farm stands. To keep SFMNP accessible to everyone, we will also be packing produce boxes valued at $50 for delivery to seniors who may not have access to a farmer's market. Hope's Harvest will continue administrating the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program in partnership with the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management. As you can see, all of these programs are still focused on delivering the highest quality, locally grown food to hunger relief agencies, and we're thrilled to continue growing our capacity to do so in a myriad of ways. Since 2018, we've been able to recruit 3,500 volunteers, over 1,300 of whom have spent over 9,800 hours harvesting over 1 million pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables from 69 different farms, distributing that produce to 62 hunger relief agencies, and serving approximately 35,000 individuals per month. Hope's Harvest has allocated over $500,000 to 66 Rhode Island hunger relief agencies via the Farm to Food Pantry program to purchase local food for their clients through the Market Mobile platform. Since 2021, Hope's Harvest has distributed over 20,000 local produce boxes to seniors through the SFMNP program, coordinated with the Rhode Island DEM. In addition to addressing food insecurity, these programs also offer local farmers and producers additional avenues to sell their products. Across both programs, over $700,000 was sent in producer payments to over 100 Rhode Island growers and producers. We love being able to grow our impact with these initiatives that support Rhode Island families and small businesses. We have 3 major interest holder groups. First, we work very closely with farmers across Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts. This list includes our 2023 farm partners, who we hope to work with again this season. These are some of the hunger relief agencies that we work with, ranging from Olneyville Food Center right next door to us in Providence, down to the Pantry on the Lane agency in Westerly. Our agency partners are true heroes, serving their communities every day and making a huge difference by getting our produce out to individuals, families, and senior citizens who all struggle to make ends meet. Here is a list of agencies who are ordering on the Market Mobile platform this year. Last and certainly not least, you, our volunteers. You are essential in making sure that this project works and that we can increase the value of all of our time and effort by coming together to harvest food. Every volunteer really dramatically increases the amount of food that we're able to recover and distribute, making a huge difference. We've been blessed to have a lot of steady and consistent volunteers who have worked with us for years, and new recruits every year who join us and fall in love with the sunshine, the earth, and the good we're able to do out in the fields. So thank you to everyone returning, and welcome to any new volunteers. Let's talk about being a gleaner with Hope's Harvest. We get so much positive feedback from volunteers on how they love gleaning with us out in the fields. Fresh air, being in nature, getting exercise, meeting other volunteers and like-minded individuals, learning about agriculture and different local farms, and most importantly, making a difference in our community. You're already here, so you probably already know about these benefits. But we want you to know that we see ourselves as an organization that provides a great experience and great value to our volunteers, and we're here to make sure you get everything you want out of your time with us. Gleaning with Hope's Harvest is a 3-part process. First is registering as a volunteer with Farm Fresh Rhode Island. Second is getting onboarded as a gleaner, happening as we speak. And last is signing up for trips. If you have not already done so, be sure to complete the Farm Fresh volunteer orientation by watching the video, signing the waivers, and Hope's Harvest's volunteer agreement, and registering as a volunteer. Be sure to press the submit button at the bottom of the form. All of this can be done at our website, farmfreshri.org/volunteer. So now we'll go into how to sign up for trips once you've registered as a Farm Fresh volunteer. Our upcoming gleans are sent out to our email list on a weekly basis. You can sign up in these emails for specific gleaning trips via Eventbrite. In the Eventbrite trip confirmation, you will receive information about the farm location, where you'll join Hope's Harvest and other volunteers to glean. Gleaning trips will now be sent out via our Dig In, Get Involved volunteer and community engagement newsletter on Saturday mornings, and sometimes more often during the peak season. These emails include the event invitation links to sign up for Hope's Harvest Gleans, as well as other Farm Fresh Rhode Island volunteering opportunities. This year, the Dig In volunteer newsletter will come from the sender Farm Fresh Rhode Island, rather than Hope's Harvest as it did last year, so keep your eye out. Trips can fill up fast, so remember to look for these emails in your inbox and add volunteer at farmfreshri.org to your contacts so you don't miss any of our emails. You can click on the links in the newsletter to sign up for specific trips based on your availability. You may notice that the newsletter looks slightly different than last year. We've updated the format slightly and adjusted the look of our gleaning trip sign-up buttons. We made these slight changes to make accessibility information more readily available to our volunteers based on feedback that we've received. As you can see in the key, we've added information about the following: if the farm has a farm stand volunteers can purchase from, if there's a bathroom available, if there's a bus stop nearby the farm, and if volunteers can expect to bring home gleaned produce from that trip. Note that these emojis look slightly different when viewing the email on different devices. To clarify the reasons why gleaned produce may or may not be available to our volunteers at any given glean, we want to share our volunteer food access policy. The availability of gleaned produce for volunteers to take home on any given glean will be indicated in the weekly volunteer newsletter. Hope's Harvest tries to offer produce to volunteers whenever possible. As gleaners, we are guests on the farm where we harvest, and at all times, our Hope's Harvest team does our best to facilitate respect for the farmers, their land and labor, their preferences, and Hope's Harvest's agreements with them. Farmers give us permission to bring volunteers into the field to harvest specifically for hunger relief, and we want to uphold that agreement. Depending on the farm and the crop being harvested, gleaned produce may become available for volunteers at the end of gleans. This can happen when we harvest B-grade produce that is edible but not suitable for agency distribution, at times when we have small amounts of produce left over that doesn't fit into our packing boxes or bins, or when farmers offer produce to volunteers. However, we also contract with some farmers to grow specifically for hunger relief, and they're paid by the pound, so we can't always be giving their produce to volunteers. We also want to support our local farmers by directing volunteers to their farm stands when possible. This will be indicated in the newsletter. With all of this said, if you are experiencing food insecurity and would like to take home gleaned produce, we will make sure it is always available for you. Please contact us at hh@farmfreshri.org so that we can discuss arrangements for the best way to do this while respecting your confidentiality and individual circumstances. When you click the link in the email, you'll be sent to sign up for your trip on Eventbrite. Basic information is collected, such as name, email, and phone number, in case we need to contact you about any last-minute trip changes. Please help our team by ensuring you're entering updated, accurate, and spell-checked info when signing into Eventbrite so our system can accurately track your hours. For every trip, you must agree to the volunteer agreement, media waiver, liability waiver, and confirm that you watched the orientation video. You will receive information about the farm location, directions, any special equipment or trip details, and an emailed trip confirmation after signing up for a trip on Eventbrite. Keep scrolling down. This information will be at the bottom of the confirmation email under additional information. Sometimes these can go to your spam box, and sometimes the trip directions get cut off at the bottom of the email. Click on the 3 dots at the bottom of your email if this happens so you can see the full trip info. Be sure to look at the directions we describe in the confirmation email to meet us at the correct location. Knowing the name of the farm will not necessarily get you to the correct location, so make sure to read the driving instructions that we provide. A few farms have maps linked in the driving instructions information if you want more details, or if you arrive late and are unsure where to go. Please do not bring other people unless they've already signed up using the above process. We promise farmers that we won't put them at risk of liability, and the sign up process is how we protect them and keep our relationships with the farms so they keep working with us. Join Hope's Harvest and other volunteers out on your gleaning trip. Arrive at the location 10 to 15 minutes before the designated start time to meet with our staff. They'll be identifiable in our bright orange HH bandana. We are unfortunately not able to wait more than 5 minutes for late volunteers. We've got lots of work to get to. If you arrive late and are unable to easily find the team, please find the trip leader's phone number in this confirmation email and reach out so they can directly meet you. Hope's Harvest staff provides safety and harvest training at each gleaning trip. We have hand washing stations, and you'll be required to wash your hands before you begin gleaning. We cannot guarantee accessible restrooms, but we will do our best to inform you of restroom availability at each farm via Eventbrite. Please consider this information in advance. We'll also be handing out our bright orange bandanas to all new gleaners for your first trip. They're not just cool merch, they help our farmers identify us as volunteers easily from a distance. We just ask that if provided one already, hold on to it and remember to bring it for the rest of your trips. Lastly, remember to always listen to the instructions of Hope's Harvest staff. Instructions about harvest techniques or quality control are very important to listen to and follow so we have a successful glean. If you have any questions, always ask. It's what we're here for. We have purchased several garden kneeler seats for this gleaning season. We hope that providing these can help folks who could use a little bit of support in terms of the physical demands of gleaning. We will try to have at least one available at all gleans. Let your gleaning trip leaders know if you would like to use one and if you have any questions or feedback. Hope's Harvest asks all gleaners and staff to prioritize the health and well-being of gleaners, farmers, and their staff, agencies, and everyone who receives our food by monitoring any contagious illness you are experiencing or have been exposed to, and not attending trips if you're feeling unwell. We're dedicated to providing for our families, friends, and neighbors in need, and we take our responsibility to the people we serve very seriously. So let's keep each other healthy and safe. All right, if you have any questions about this video, registration, or the sign-up process, please reach out to us by emailing hh@farmfreshri.org. Thank you for your time and dedication to our program, and we look forward to seeing you in the fields in 2024.